So guys, the key word that she said was curiosity. The whole
Yes.
point of our opener and the whole point of that first 10 to 15 seconds is to pique curiosity. So think about it this way. Sometimes we'll have reps and we know that sometimes you can be sitting there for 20 to 30 minutes and getting no answers, right? And like you're not prepared. You're kind of like, okay, when am I going to get someone to talk to? And then that answer finally comes in. And so in our minds as appointment setters, we're like, okay, I need to set this appointment, right? Well, that's like skipping 10 steps ahead. So when you guys first get that customer on the phone, just think about how do I get to how do I take just one step? How do I get to the very next stage? How do I take this opener and just get to 15-second mark, right? So when we say, hey man, hey Junic, sorry it took me so long to get back to you. And he's thinking in his mind, like, did I talk to this person before? Like, what is this about? And it's the whole thing again is meant to just stretch that because now the customer is curious. What happens when they're curious is they're listening to what you say next. That customer is now drawn into like, I don't know who this is. What is this about? And then they're going to ask you. And now you have a little gap for you to be able to talk without being interrupted. Now, if you take that the way that other solar companies have done it, probably a lot of what you guys did in the past is you will call them customers and the second they answer the phone, you're like, hey, I'm such and such. We're calling on solar. We saw your address and, yada, yada, yada. Well, that customer is changing a diaper. That customer is driving. That customer is, in the middle of something. So it feels very intrusive. Like it feels like someone's interrupting their day. So this is going to be very counterintuitive to the way that you guys call. You're going to call people and naturally you're going to want to say, how are you doing today? Don't say that. I know it's going to be challenging and you'll slip up sometimes because it's just natural for us to all be polite, but try your best not to say, how are you doing today? Try your best not to fast forward the script, but on that very first part, if you do it the same way every time and it becomes a habit for you, even though that is challenging, it's going to get easier. You're going to be able to take people, your calls will start to get longer and longer. And lo and behold, the longer calls tend to be appointments. But if everybody you talk to is getting off the phone in 30 seconds, because as soon as they hear solar, they're out of there. Well, that means we're not doing a good job at each stage, just focusing on the next stage. So great job on that, Sheila. So again, guys, really push the opener. I know that it's going to be challenging because it's different and it's going to feel weird for you to just call someone and be like, hey, Richard, sorry it took me so long to get back to you. But I promise you, it's the most effective thing that you can do to kick off that conversation. Now let's talk about the transition, the very next part of our script. So after I've said the opener and I'm like, hey, Sheila, sorry it took me so long to get back to you. Now Sheila's gone. She's thinking like, again, who is this? What is this about? So that's the next thing she's going to say to me. Who is this? What's this about? Then I'm going to go, no worries. By the way, I'm not here to sell you anything. This is Richard with the utility rebate program. Not here to sell you anything again, Sheila. I'm just here to give you that information. Just the rebates are now for your area. By the way, you might not be a good fit for our problem at all, so I don't want to waste your time. But how much are you typically paying for power per month, right? So notice the whole thing that I'm doing in there. I'm doing it 2 to 3 times by saying, I'm not here to sell you anything. You might not be a good fit. I can take you off the list if this doesn't make sense. It's very less aggressive. So it makes the customer feel like, oh, this person isn't here to just shove information down my throat or to take something from me. So I have a good cadence. I'm not talking too slow, but I'm also not talking too fast, right? So someone tell me, someone outside of Sheila, what is the biggest thing we want to get across on that second part, right? We've passed the opener. Now I've gone into the, hey, not here to sell you anything, just here to give you the information. What's the main part we want to get in that very next section of the script to the customer? There's just one question there. Which one is it?
The power bill.
Absolutely, 100%. And why is that important to get that information right there?
It's for a pain point.
Yep. Because if they answer that question, guys, it doesn't matter if they said, we've already looked into solar and we don't want it. If they answer your question of how much they're paying per month, then you've started a small pain point, and that's what we need on the call. As soon as they answer that question, it's because in their mind, they've identified that this is a problem. This power bill is a problem. I don't want to have this power bill. So the second they answer that question, it's our job as appointment setters to take that pain, to make it a little bit bigger, right? And then to keep that curiosity going for the call and then book them for that set to see if we can actually relieve them of that pain. So perfect answer, Junic, there. The next thing we want to do is quickly get to and let them know we're not trying to sell anything, but by the way, how much are you guys typically paying for your power per month? They answer that question. What do we want to do after they answer that question? It doesn't matter if they say $100 per month or if they say $300 per month. How do we want to react once they tell us how much they're actually paying for their power. Because again, the whole point is once they tell us how much their bills are, we want to take this small pain point and make it a bigger pain point, right? So how do we need to react? Let's pretend I'm the customer on the phone and you guys called me and I go, yeah, I'm paying $350 per month. What do you say next? How are you going to make me feel like that is a gigantic problem? That's too big of a bill, right? Someone give me an example of how you would respond to someone saying they pay $350 a month.
Oh my God, it's too high.
Too high. Oh my God, man. What you got? 17 kids in there? You got a swimming pool? Like you got a bunch of pet snakes in cages? Like why is your power bill so high, man? That's crazy, right? And one of the things I say in training is like, don't be afraid to be silly with them and to laugh with them and to get what can feel like a little bit maybe unprofessional, because professional feels like business. It feels like sales. Just think about our opener. You want to almost feel like a friend. You want to talk to them the same way that you would talk to each other. Because if you try to, let's say that you wanted to set a solar appointment with a family member. Everybody think about your parents or your elders or your aunt and uncle, right? If you call them and you give them all the facts and figures and you sound very professional, it's going to be off-putting to them, right? They need you to feel down to earth. They need you to feel authentic. They need you to laugh. They need you to be real, right? So same thing here. I know we have a script. That script is more of a format, but we super need you guys to be very much authentic and to be yourselves and have fun with the customer. Smile while you dial, because if you are in a good mood, it's going to be in your voice and it's going to transfer over the phone. But if I'm calling everybody and I'm just kind of like this and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, well, this is the utility rebate program. How do you think they're going to be receptive to that? What am I transferring to the customer if my voice and my energy level is just like monotone? What?
Not interested. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna make the customer not interested anymore.
That's it. We're literally giving them not interesting energy. So the way that I'm talking to you guys right now, if I call you guys, you're like, I don't know what this dude is talking about, but he's got some bubbly energy. So I'm going to listen to him, right? The same way y'all listen to me now. But if we were on this sales training call and I was just like, yeah, guys, this is the opener and this is how we're going to do it, you guys would probably be like, man, this is boring. Like, it's not giving me anything. So understand the energy that you give to the customer is going to kind of come back to you. So if you're laughing and you're bubbly and you're excited, right? Even if they're a little bit rude, you will get better results. And to maintain that throughout the day, it is going to be a little bit difficult, but to the degree that you're able to give that high energy to the customers, it's going to reflect in the results that you have, the appointments that you set, the commissions that you make, right?